For over a century, the Panama Canal has stood as a vital artery of the global economy, seamlessly connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. This engineering marvel, carved through the heart of Central America, has transformed international trade by making what was once a perilous and lengthy journey far more efficient. By providing a shortcut that saves ships weeks of travel, the canal has enabled goods to move faster and more reliably between continents, fueling economic growth and global integration. Each year about 5 to 6% of all global maritime trade passes through its locks, linking over 160 countries and nearly 1,700 ports. The canal is a crossroads for everything from electronics and clothing to food and fuel, making it a linchpin of modern commerce. For the United States, the canal is truly indispensable. Over 70% of its traffic is tied to American ports, making it a direct pillar of U.S. economic health. American businesses, from farmers to automakers, rely on its smooth operation to keep shelves stocked and factories running. Any disruption here sends shockwaves through global supply chains, affecting everything from food prices to car availability. Even a brief slowdown can ripple out, causing shortages, delays, and higher costs for consumers around the world. The canal's daily operations are a feat of engineering, with massive ships lifted and lowered through a series of locks that rely on precise timing and immense water pressure. Every passage is a carefully choreographed dance of technology and human expertise. Since 1999, the Panama Canal Authority has managed the waterway, upholding its neutrality for all nations and ensuring that this global lifeline remains open to all, regardless of politics or conflict. But as of December 2025, that neutrality is under threat. Economic pressures and rising geopolitical rivalries have turned this symbol of international cooperation into a potential flashpoint. The stakes have never been higher. The world is watching, anxious and uncertain if this crucial artery will remain open and stable, or if the pressures of our time will force a dramatic change in the flow of global trade. The U.S. connection to the Panama Canal runs deep. It didn't just use the canal, it built it. The story of the canal is, in many ways, a story of American ambition and ingenuity. From the earliest days, the United States saw the canal as a gateway to global influence, a project that would reshape not just trade routes, but the very balance of power in the Western Hemisphere. After a failed French attempt, America's decade-long construction project became a symbol of national pride and global power. Thousands of workers, engineers, and laborers from around the world toiled under harsh conditions, overcoming disease and daunting terrain. The successful completion of the canal in 1914 was hailed as one of the greatest engineering feats of its time, and it cemented America's reputation as a nation capable of achieving the impossible. For most of the 20th century, the canal and its surrounding zone were essentially American territory, reinforcing the idea that its security was a core U.S. interest. The American flag flew over the canal zone, and generations of U.S. military personnel and their families called it home, creating a unique American enclave in the heart of Central America. The canal was both a commercial route and a strategic military asset, allowing the U.S. Navy to move quickly between oceans. It played a crucial role in both world wars, enabling rapid deployment of ships and resources, and became a linchpin of American defense strategy. This changed with the 1977 Torrijos-Carter treaties, which set the stage for Panama's full control by 1999, a move that sparked fierce debate in the U.S. Many Americans saw the treaties as a loss of national prestige, while others viewed them as a necessary step toward fairness and international cooperation. Many Americans still feel a sense of ownership, believing the canal's fate is tied to U.S. interests. The canal remains a powerful symbol in the American imagination, representing both past glory and ongoing strategic concerns. When the Trump administration began talking about taking back the canal, it tapped into this powerful historical sentiment. The idea resonated with those who remembered the era of American control, and with younger generations who learned about the canal's significance in school. The legal transfer of control didn't erase the emotional legacy, fueling a renewed debate over America's role. Veterans, politicians, and ordinary citizens alike continue to argue about what the canal means for U.S. security and identity. In 2025, this legacy became the backdrop for a new, more aggressive U.S. policy toward Panama. The canal's history, and America's enduring connection to it, continue to shape the choices and challenges of today. The crisis erupted suddenly, catching global markets and governments off guard. In early 2025, the Panama Canal Authority announced a dramatic and unexpected increase in tolls, sending shockwaves through the international shipping industry. While toll hikes have happened before, this time the scale was unprecedented. Some U.S. exports faced increases of up to 200%. In Washington, the move was quickly interpreted as a direct challenge, if not an outright provocation. The Canal Authority justified the hikes, citing urgent maintenance needs and ongoing water shortages that threatened the canal's long-term viability. But to many in the U.S., these explanations rang hollow, fueling suspicions of a targeted economic maneuver. The Trump administration, with President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio at the forefront, swiftly condemned the toll increases. They called it a breach of trust and a threat to the free flow of global commerce. Tensions escalated rapidly. U.S. officials argued that Panama's actions violated the spirit of canal neutrality, a principle that had underpinned decades of cooperation and trade. Legally, Panama retains the right to set its own tolls. However, the treaties governing the canal are vague when it comes to resolving disputes, leaving a legal gray area that both sides sought to exploit. Panama stood firm, insisting on its sovereign right to manage and profit from the canal. Meanwhile, the U.S. viewed the toll hikes as a direct attack on its economic interests and global supply chains. What started as a financial disagreement over shipping fees quickly spiraled into a full-blown international crisis, with both nations digging in and the world watching anxiously. Beneath the toll dispute lies a deeper U.S. anxiety: China's growing influence in Panama. Since Panama recognized Beijing in 2017, Chinese investment has surged, funding infrastructure and telecommunications. Chinese-linked companies like Hutchison Ports control key port facilities at both ends of the canal, handling 40% of container cargo. U.S. military leaders warn these dual-use facilities could be leveraged for military purposes in a crisis. The Trump administration framed the toll hikes as a symptom, with China's presence as the real threat. Washington argued that Panama's deepening ties with China compromised the canal's neutrality. The issue was no longer just economic. It was about national security and strategic control. This mix of financial and strategic fears pushed the U.S. toward confrontation. In 2025, the Trump administration responded with aggressive rhetoric and action. President Trump declared, "China is operating the Panama Canal. We're taking it back," signaling a dramatic policy shift. Secretary of State Marco Rubio made Panama his first foreign visit, demanding action on tolls and Chinese influence. The U.S. threatened sanctions and tariffs, leveraging its economic power to pressure Panama. Washington also demanded free transit for U.S. military vessels, testing the limits of the neutrality treaty. While military intervention was unlikely, the threat of economic warfare was real. The administration invoked the Senate's reservation in the neutrality treaty as justification for its stance. The message: align with U.S. interests or face consequences. This marked a new doctrine. America would not tolerate rivals gaining ground in its hemisphere. The standoff was underway, with the world watching closely. Panama's initial response was defiant. President Molino rejected U.S. threats as violations of sovereignty, but as U.S. pressure mounted, the economic risks became clear. Dependent on U.S. trade, Panama couldn't afford a prolonged standoff. The government shifted course, announcing withdrawal from China's Belt and Road Initiative and launching an audit of Chinese-linked port contracts. These moves signaled a realignment toward the U.S., even as Panama publicly asserted its independence. The crisis forced Panama to make major concessions, demonstrating America's enduring leverage. Panama kept operational control of the canal, but at the cost of its broader foreign policy autonomy. The episode revealed the complex balance of power and sovereignty in the region. The canal crisis sent shockwaves through the global economy. Even the threat of disruption created uncertainty for shipping companies and multinational firms. With other trade routes like the Suez Canal also under strain, the risk of a supply chain breakdown loomed large. U.S. tactics alarmed Latin American neighbors, who feared a return to interventionism and closer ties to China as a counterweight. Analysts warned that heavy-handed U.S. actions could undermine regional cooperation on migration, security, and democracy. Globally, the crisis exposed the fragility of just-in-time supply chains and the risks of geopolitical choke points. Asian and European exporters began seeking costly alternatives, fearing future instability. The 2025 crisis showed how quickly global trade can be threatened when great powers clash. A misstep could have triggered a worldwide economic shock, proving the canal's enduring importance. As 2025 ends, the immediate crisis has eased, but tensions remain. Panama made major concessions, and the US pulled back from the brink, but the peace is fragile. The core issues, sovereignty, fairness, and great power rivalry, are unresolved. The US has set a new precedent for intervention, reopening debates over the canal's governance. Panama must now balance US demands with its own sovereignty and China's lingering economic presence. The canal's future is uncertain, caught in a new era of global competition. The events of 2025 remind us that infrastructure is also geopolitical territory. As long as great powers vie for control, the world will watch, hoping this vital waterway remains open for all.